The Sacramento County Sheriff's Department has opened a criminal investigation into the death of a California woman who drank too much water. Jennifer Strange drank as much as 2 gallons of water during a radio show stunt to win a popular gaming system. The sheriff is considering filing charges after hearing part of the radio show broadcast.
How much water do you think you can drink before you have to wee?
I did like 2 gallons.
2 gallons?
Oh, dude.
Can't you get water poisoning and, like, die?
Water.
Your body is 98% water. Why can't you take in as much water as you want?
I don't know. Maybe we should have researched this
I don't know.
before.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe they should have researched that more. Shortly after that part of the conversation on January 12th, a nurse called in warning of the dangers of drinking too much water. The radio station has now fired 10 employees, including 3 of the morning show disc jockeys. Opie and Anthony are nationally syndicated radio hosts, also on XM satellite radio, 2 of the best known in the business. They're joining us now on the phone. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Allison.
Hey, Opie, so as 2 people who do provocative radio for a living, what did you think when you first heard this story about this woman dying from drinking that much water during this stunt?
Well, obviously I feel bad for Jennifer and her family, but I also feel bad for the show because they're just kind of a wacky morning show. They're not really shock jocks or edgy. They were just kind of trying to have a little fun, and it blew up in their face.
Fun. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I feel bad.
Anthony, what did you think when you first heard this?
It was awful. These poor kids of the mother are going to be asked for the rest of their life. How did your parents die? Or your parent die, and they're going to have to come up with this ridiculous story of a radio stunt.
So, Opie, what at this point in the story, if anything, points to the radio host's responsibility for this woman's death, or absolves them from it?
That's a good question. It's going to be tough to get out of this one. You really don't sign up to kill a listener when you do a radio show. So I'd say they're pretty screwed.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys this morning, and you played a clip from this show, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, she signed a release." Does that she signed a release excuse hold in your opinion?
No, I think legally it might hold, but so they don't get arrested. But I think a civil case will be brought up, and it reminds me, it was a case years ago, back in '83. A couple of disc jockeys, I think it was Ramon and Francis in the morning. They had a staff member shove marshmallows in his mouth, and he choked wearing a bunny suit. It was awful, tragic. The Nagel families never recovered from that, and I remember they were taken right off the air.
So, Opie,
it's happened before.
It has. Opie, do you think this is going to bring any industry-wide changes, or is this just going to be one of these sad stories that sort of fades from the headlines eventually?
No, I think the boss is going to, kind of pretty much wreck it for everybody else. I mean, the bosses in radio in general are beyond scared as it is, and now that we officially have killed the listener out there, yeah, I think you're going to hear a lot of really, really boring radio. No one's going to really try to go to the edge or do anything edgy.
Well, Anthony,
didn't a management maybe say, "Hey, did you talk to a doctor about this or something?" and maybe get some confirmation if this is dangerous or not?
So, Anthony, you're throwing it up the food chain a little bit. That management maybe should get involved, or maybe should be held accountable. Yeah,
maybe you say, did you talk to a doctor about this or something? Maybe management should have looked into this and seen if it was a little more dangerous than they thought.
Opie and Anthony, we really thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Allison.